Hello, BookTube. I've got a little mail for you today on a Friday that feels like summer. Normal summer. What we will all think of as the summer of bygone years. The massive block of hot, humid weather has temporarily moved away from Boston. So today was a bright blue sky, gorgeous summer day. Has been so far, a gorgeous summer day. Where if you go out walking, for instance, with your adorable little dog, uh, you're going to get warm, but you're not going to feel like your life is ending. You're not going to feel like you can see the sidewalk cement bubbling with the heat. So that's great. That's absolutely fantastic. Feels like the first day of summer that I've experienced in I don't know how long. Uh, and we have some mail. And one of the things I want to show you before we get to the rest of it is a book. And it is the result of the weather changing because the Bean and I were finally able to go other than just an emergency route for bathroom breaks. We weren't able to do more than that for days and days and days and days and days. But finally we were able to do that, and we passed by a little free library, and I found this. I found a copy of the Forsyte Saga by John Galsworthy in this Oxford World Classics. Of course, I did what anyone should do when you find one of these in a little free library or used bookstore. Keep in mind, Oxford and Penguin are used extensively in schools. So look, don't just jump at it, even if it's free. Don't just jump at it. Look to make sure that someone hasn't pink highlighted it all to hell and gone for the first two chapters before they lost interest. And this is completely clean. So that was a neat little find. Then we have a periodical, the new Harper's. I am drifting into a different phase in my periodical reading, a phase that will completely avoid anything even remotely political. Nothing at all. No information at all. No news. No think piece articles. No nothing. Just nothing at all. I'm not there yet, but I am moving in that direction. But the nice thing about Harper's is that you get lots of stuff that isn't that. Like you had a William Volan article in here. And also they have books coverage. Harper's has books coverage in the back of the book. They have a column of new releases by various writers. I don't usually find a whole lot that's of interest there, but the long piece in here is a review of that big, fat, collected letters of Seamus Heaney, and it's written by Christian Wyman. A fantastic combo that I would never have thought of. So that's fantastic. That is, of course, the highlight of this issue. But then let's look at a little bit of the mail that we have here and see what's of interest. The first one is a white package, and it's as light as a feather. Could it be a mass market paperback? Oh, it's a trade paperback. Okay. What is this? This comes out in August, so this is late getting to me. This is by Kaylee Peterson, and it's called Sacrificial Animals. Quite the striking cover there. I don't have any information on it, so let's just read the back here. Inspired by the author's own journey being adopted from Nanning, China in 1996 and growing up on a farm in Nebraska, this rich, atmospheric supernatural horror debut explores an ancient Chinese mythology. Okay, let's hear the plot. The last thing Nick Morrow expected to receive was an invitation from his father to return home. When he left rural Nebraska behind, he believed he was leaving everything there, including his abusive father Carlisle and the farm that loomed so large in memory, forever. But neither Nick nor his brother Joshua, disowned for marrying Amelia, a woman of Asian descent, can ignore such summons from their father, who hopes for a deathbed reconciliation. Predictably, Joshua and Carlisle quickly warm to each other while Nick and Amelia are left to their own devices. Nick puts the time to good use, and his flirtation with Amelia quickly blooms into romance. Though not long after the affair turns intimate, Nick begins to suspect that Amelia's interest in him may have sinister and possibly even ancient motivations. Punctuated by scenes from Nick's adolescent years when memories of a queer awakening and a shadowy presence stalking the farm altered the trajectory of his life forever, Sacrificial Animals explores the violent legacy of inherited trauma and the total collapse of a family in its wake. Okay. All right. Queer awakening. I assume that means gay. Uh, or is it the Twitter use of the word queer, which means anything that is not Steve Donahue, anything that's not me personally, with my face on the placards and the posters, and as people cement themselves to the ground. Well, that's I'm not usually much for horror, but I'll definitely take it. This is right around the corner. Uh, Fantastic. Okay, great. So sacrificial animals. Uh, let's see here. This next one. This is one of those vacuum press things that can sometimes be the devil's own problem to open. You end up with a million pieces. Like in this case, a perfect example. In this case, let's see what this is. Okay, this is by Stark Holborn, and it is called Ninth Life. Another really good cover. Another also heavy on the reds. And again, I don't have a pub sheet for this, so let's see here. After 40 years of wreaking havoc across the galaxy, the outlaw Nine Lives, aka former General Gabriela Ortiz, has finally run out of lives. Shot down into a backwater at a system's edge, she is rescued by Deputy Air Marshal Have Mercy Gray. Have is a true soul, trying to uphold what is right in the heedless wastes. Have is determined to see justice done, and Have could sure use that $20 million bounty. But escorting the system's most dangerous fugitive to justice is no easy task, especially when decades of fire and destruction are catching up with her, and every gut spill with a pistol wants that payday. Gut spill. What is that? So when Ortiz offers a deal to keep them both alive as long as Have listens to the stories of her lives, Have can't refuse. There's just one catch. Everywhere they go, during every brawl and gunfight and explosive escape, people say the same thing. Don't let her talk. Okay. All right, this is coming out from Titan Books. And down at the bottom there we have 10 Low and Hell's 8, which leads me to think this is the third book in a series. Yeah, this looks like the third book in a series. I'll have to get in touch with Titan Books and see if I can get the other two. I don't know that I can do this from Justice if I haven't read the others. And then we'll do this final one, and that will be a quick Friday mail haul. Of course, the open tab did not work, and the package is made of flaking asbestos, so we want to be very gentle with it if we can. All right, there we go. That ought to do it. What have we got here? Another paperback. This comes out in September. Oh, all right, great, fantastic. All right, so I still don't have any pub sheet, but this is by Tim Cook, and it is called The Good Allies: How Canada and the United States Fought Together to Defeat Fascism During the Second World War. The Good Allies, the Canada-U.S. alliance. When the Second World War broke out in 1939, it set in motion a deadly struggle between the Axis powers and the Allies, but also fraught negotiations between and among the Allies. On questions of diplomacy, economic policy, industrial might, military capabilities, and even national sovereignty, thousands of lives and the fate of the free world depended on backroom deals and desperate trade-offs between soldiers, diplomats, and leaders. In North America, Canada and the U.S. strained to forge a new military alliance to guard their coasts and fend off German U-boats and the menace of a Japanese invasion. Wartime economies were entwined to produce a staggering contribution to weapons to keep Britain and the other allies in the war. The defense of North America against enemy threats was essential before the U.S. and Canada could send armies, navies, and air forces overseas. Okay, great. World War II history. Fantastic. So that's coming up. So we have genre fiction and military history. So The Good Allies, Ninth Life. Any of you read the first two books in this series? Love to hear about it. And finally, Sacrificial Animals by Kaylee Peterson. A little bit of horror. Sounds like there's a little bit of horror involved. Plus, the Forsyth Saga, and the new Harpers, with not only a piece by Volman, which is must-reading, but also Christian Wyman, who's become must-reading for me. So I'll definitely take it, especially since I've read and loved that Seamus Heaney collection. Can't remember if I wrote about it for anybody, but I read it and loved it. So anyway, there is the mail, a nice temperate mail haul, not a bubble. Windows open, air flowing everywhere. How wonderful. Don't know how long it'll last, but it is wonderful. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up for now, but I'll be back.